So I just talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but I just had another great experience with it. So I wanted to revisit the idea that one of the coolest things about being an Amazon influencer is being able to have stuff that you don't need, stuff that you want to review, and maybe you got it because you thought you wanted it. But the further you get into the Amazon influencer program, the more other people reach out to you and ask you to do reviews, whether that be for a YouTube review or an Amazon review. And so what happens is I've been in the program for about 6 months, and I'm getting probably 2 or 3 requests every single day now of companies that really want shoppable videos on Amazon. And so they reach out to influencers, and the program was designed to be that way, that people who make honest, good reviews for Amazon, that companies are working with them. And that is a win for Amazon because it helps them inform their consumers about their products. It's obviously a win for the brand because it helps them build brand awareness. But then as an influencer, I love that people are reaching out to me and that I can choose what things I want to review. And so I'm mostly picking things that I know that I either personally want or will benefit me and my family directly, or that it's something that I know somebody else will want that I can give away. I haven't sold a single product I've been given for a review, so I don't receive things and then sell them on Facebook Marketplace or anything like that. But I do give a lot of things away, and today was one of those times where I'm like, I'm so glad to be an influencer because it was so fun. So last week, I went and had a vacation and visited my brother, who's also an Amazon influencer, and he has way too much stuff too. And so we had a conversation, and he said, "Do you have any people you can give this to?" And I do. And so I loaded up my car with a bunch of his stuff, and then I've been accumulating stuff for several months. And so I had several bins worth of products. And first, what we did is, as we were visiting friends on vacation, there was one instance where we had friends that I just asked them, we had stuff in the car, and so I'm like, "Do you want to come out and see if you want any of this stuff?" And it was really cool because they did. And so it was almost like a mini Christmas for that family, where we were able to find one really cool thing for each of their children and then a few family gifts. And it was really fun just having this little mini celebration that didn't really cost me anything, but it was just me giving away some of the stuff that I'd received. So it was super fun. This week in school, so I'm a college professor, and one of the things that I love to do, because I used to be an elementary school teacher, and as an elementary school teacher, we would earn points or earn, we called it honey money in our classroom by doing jobs, by doing things beyond what was expected. And my students loved to save up their honey money because we would have class auctions, and they could bid on candy and soda and books and products. And so even several years ago, I was doing product reviews, and I would bring in things to my students like skateboards or backpacks or drones, and they would get really, really cool stuff from these auctions. And as a teacher, I loved doing that. I recognized that it was a sacrifice of my time to do all the reviews and to bring those things in. And in the case of candy and books, it was out of my pocket. And so I actually, over several years as a teacher, I spent thousands of dollars on these auctions. But it was something that made my job so much more enjoyable, and I would look forward to the auctions just like my students would. Well, when I moved back into the college classroom, I didn't want to give that up because I'd had so much fun doing that as an elementary school teacher. And so what I did is I made a program for my students where they could complete something called a personal development checklist. So I made a list of things that they could do that wouldn't be graded, wouldn't officially be part of our class, but that would simply help them to have a better, more well-balanced life that would improve their mental and their physical health. And so I had like a list of like things to, like you would get points if you would add things to your bucket list or do something on your bucket list. You'd get points if you gave up a bad habit or tried a new thing. You'd get points if you would be involved in the campus community and go around. You got points if you wrote thank you notes or reached out to someone that you haven't talked to for a while, or developed a talent or a skill that you kind of have abandoned for a while, or picked up and read a new book. So there are all these things on my personal development checklist, and I gave my students about a month to work on that checklist. And then last week, while I was gone, they had extra time to work on that. And again, it wasn't officially part of our class, but just something that I thought would make their lives better. Well, as an external motivator for that, I said count up. So each of these things on the checklist had a point value associated with it, depending on how much time and effort it would take. And so they could tally up their points. And then today we were going to have a class party, and they could bring those points, and we were going to do an auction just like we did in elementary school. So I gave myself a budget for books and candy, and I went and got those things. And as class started, I kind of lectured them a little bit on the importance of reading for fun and building your own library. And for my students who are planning on becoming teachers, starting to build out your own classroom library so that you have good literature for your students. So I talked about that, and then I just gave everybody a book and some candy because I didn't want to waste auction time on that stuff, but I wanted everyone to go away with something, because the reward for doing the personal development checklist was that you did the personal development checklist. It was going to make your life better. So you already got the reward. So today's party was simply a celebration. It wasn't technically a reward. It was celebrating all the good things you've already done. And I wanted it to feel that way. So I gave away a lot of stuff without points, just to my students, just so they'd feel loved and so that class would be fun. So we did that first, and then we had an auction, and the auction was way funner than I expected. I've never done this as a college professor before, but it was super cool to, actually, I take that back. I have done auctions before. It just didn't go like this. But today was fun because my students would bid on things, and they'd bid each other out. And so some people who bidded early on big ticket items, then we knew how many points they had. And so it wasn't fair to them. So then I would just give them stuff. And so they'd be out of the running for other products. And it was really fun to see how there were clearly certain students wanted certain products, right? And so when it came to certain pairs of headphones that we had, I had a portable air conditioner unit that a few students really wanted, a thumb piano, those kalimbas, and stuff like that. And there were things that I could tell students wanted, and we bid on those, and some got it and were really happy, and some didn't and were really disappointed. But then we tried to make sure that everybody left with something. So with their extra points, they could get more books and piles of books and candy and things like that. And so it was fun that everybody left with something. But I'm always worried as a teacher that when something like that will happen, people will have their feelings hurt and not get what they want. And so I just have to remind myself, this is not the reward. The reward was doing the thing. This is just to celebrate, and it's not always going to be equal, and it's not always going to be fair. But anyhow, this was a long video on something that's not even directly related to Amazon Influencer. But I'm so grateful that as I am an Amazon influencer, this allows me to be a little more generous, to do those kind of fun things. And I've been reading my student reflections. They write a little reflection after each class period. And I was a little surprised to see how much fun they had. Several of my students commented that, oh yeah, it doesn't make sense that when we're adults, we don't do these fun activities anymore. A lot of them were nostalgic about their elementary school days. And they said, I love doing stuff like this then, and why can't we do stuff like this now? And I agree with that. And so I want to keep doing these kinds of things, and being an Amazon influencer makes that possible for me. So if you're one of my students and you're watching this, I hope it was fun for you, and certainly I'll try to make it better in the future. The rest of you who are either Amazon influencers or are becoming one, I hope this video was helpful in just showing how much fun you can have with this program. It's really a great program. All right, thanks. Bye.